Hi, this is Tashina.
And this is Jonathan.
And this is Abandoned Ship, a podcast where we are taking you through Deep Space Nine.
Yes, and today we have Season 1, Episode 15.
15? I have 16.
No, that is If Wishes Were Horses.
Oh, man. I just want to get to Duet so bad.
No, we gotta get through If Wishes Were Horses first.
Okay, so I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Episode 15, Progress.
Man, I really thought last episode was 15 with the storyteller. I'm way off.
No, that would have been 14.
Thank you. I do grasp numbers.
Numbers, what do they mean?
Okay, so today we have two different plots going on in this episode, and one is like a smaller B plot that has nothing to do with our overarching plot. So we're just going to get through that one real quick so we have enough time to really dive into the A plot. It's just a Jake and Nog adventure. Is pretty much the side plot. You down with that, Jonathan?
Sure.
Sure, okay. Speaking of Jake and Nog, we catch your boys playing cards and Quarks, and they overhear Quark scolding Rom about, some Cardassian food that he had.
Yamak sauce.
Quark's like, do you see any Cardassians around? I don't. Why are you ordering this food? Now we just have like pallets of the sauce in the back, and we can't do anything with it. And then Nog's...
His spidey senses.
Yeah,
tingling.
like he has a light bulb moment, like the little tingle in his ears.
Lobes are
His
itching.
lobes is itching. And he's like, Jake, I got a plan. Their plan is they're going to take that sauce and sell it to get themselves some money, baby. Gold press platinum. It's interesting because I'm pretty sure same plot happens in another episode, right? Where they're like
This
trading favors.
Yes. There's a
I thought that
much
was
better episode
Okay.
later on with the Great Material Continuum. The River Will Provide, where Nog seems to have. I guess it's been a long time. He's probably gained some wisdom, but has a much different attitude towards commerce at that point.
It's just so funny when they started off. I thought
Right.
it was that episode, and then I'm like, wait a minute, no, that was more like favors. It seemed like.
Yeah.
Like, if you do this for me, I'll do that for you. Like it was like, and it was one after another. Like it was
that
a
was
huge
a big
line.
long thing.
Where
This
you
was just
like
basically
couple,
one trade.
two,
Yeah.
two. Because they go to a merchant who I guess usually deals in Cardassian food to see if he wants to buy it off them. But he's like, yeah, I don't have any platinum, but I have all these self-sealing stem bolts that somebody can't pay me for. And Jake and Nog go back and forth on this, and they said, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, Nog is really obsessed with getting latinum for it, but it's Jake that suggests they trade.
Yes. Because, yes, Nog is just like, no, I want the money.
Yes, very short-sighted.
Jake's like, no. We can do this. We can get there. We go back to Quarks, and Nog is pretty much...
Oh, specifically, the stem bolts are because there was a Bajoran who couldn't pay for them.
Yes, I did note that because we'll get to that later. So at Quarks, Nog comes in. First, Quark scolds him because I guess a customer dropped their drink and he refilled it for free. Tisk. He's like, you're picking up your dad's bad habits, which I thought was funny. He finagles it. He gets a quote-unquote permission from Quark to take the Yamaka sauce.
The Yamaka sauce?
Yeah.
That's a different sauce.
Wait, what is this sauce called?
Yamak sauce.
Yamak?
Yamak. Just remove the Yamaka sauce. Very different.
What's that? Did I just completely make that up?
It's a Jewish delicacy.
Oh, so it was just some word that was in my brain somewhere that like floated up to the surface.
Yeah, basically he's like, yeah, do you want us to get rid of that sauce? Yeah, sure, get rid of it. Sweet. So now they have access to the sauce, I guess. They
get the
indeed have
sauce.
the sauce.
And I guess off screen, they do the trade-in, and the stem bolts come in. Self-sealing stem bolts. And O'Brien comes in going, oh, what are you guys doing this shipment? Because, it's not up to code. They didn't authorize the shipment. And they ask O'Brien. So, trying to get information out of him, thinking he will. Of course.
Of course we know what they are.
Because
right? What are they?
If anybody on the ship knows what a self-sealing stem bolt is, you would think it'd be O'Brien. But he doesn't know either. Which is crazy that you can see how Jake and Nog are young because they didn't even ask. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll try it. I'm like, you don't even know what it is. So you don't even know the value of it at all. You could literally be lying to your face about its value. So they realize they're in a pickle because if O'Brien doesn't even know what this is and they don't know what this is, how are they going to sell it? Oh, that Bajoran who ordered it in the first place and couldn't buy it. How about we go back to him and give it to him for a discount? And so they do this thing. The only way I can explain it is they try to make static on the little, console. They're talking to the Bajoran doctor who ordered the stuff. And, of course, they don't want him to see that he's talking to two kids. So they're making the
elevator. We're going through a tunnel.
That's what I was thinking. Like when you're on your phone, like, oh, I can't hear. But with on the screen, so it'd be it's hard for the doctor.
Yep.
To see them, and they call themselves what is it?
The Nog Consortium.
And doctor's like, yeah, I don't have any money. I don't have any latinum. That's why I couldn't get these stem bolts. But I have land. And of course, at this point, Nog is just like, I just want money.
Nog does not understand the value of an appreciating asset.
I know. And Jake is like, it's funny because Jake at this point mentions, I'm getting a feeling. I thought that was interesting. Jake's not part of a capitalistic society. So it's interesting how he kind of gets pulled in a little bit by this trading venture with Nog. And now he's like, oh, I'm getting this sense. He's like, I think we're near it. I think we're close. Land is important. We can trade it for the land. I think that's a better value. And also, they know what land is. Just for the fact that they know it. Jake, thankfully, has the good sense to say, well, we need proof that you do own this land. You're just not signing away something that's not yours. So again, the trade happens. So in our last scene, we're back at Quark's with them. And of course, Nog is a little upset and pissy. Like, what are we going to do with the land? I can't believe I listened to you. It's just dirt. And then they overhear a conversation from Odo and Quark. And they're talking about the Nog Consortium.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh? And apparently, I'm thinking it's the Bajoran government.
Yeah, they want to build something on this large piece of land. It's owned by 6 different people, one of them being this guy.
That they can't get a hold of. And they don't have it. There's no number for him. How do we get a hold of this consortium? And Odo came to Quark, because Quark knows everything that's happening on this station. But even Quark's like, no, I'm not a part of this. You can see in his face like, I failed. I don't know something that's going on in the ship. Odo leaves. Quark is getting his little security rods out, trying to figure out information. And that's when Nog comes up and goes, hey, Uncle Quark, do I have a deal for you? It'll only cost you 5 gold pressed platinum. And that's when Quark realizes who our Nog Consortium is.
It was like, and then it ends.
That's it. We literally went through the whole plot in a few minutes. We probably could have gotten through it quicker. It is.
Yeah, nothing. It's just sort of, I guess it's just a innocent little side story. Just trying to decide if it ties in. I guess we'll talk about at the end if it ties into the main story at all, related in any way. But I think it's just a time filler mostly.
I think so. Because, I can't, at least offhand, I don't see how this connects with our main plot.
I do believe Nog's bars of Latinum do come into play later in the series, though.
I thought it would be
In fact, I think they come into play on the episode you were talking about with the...
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
At least they mention a number of bars that's very similar.
All right. Let's put all that aside. Not really compelling. And let's get to our main plot with Kira and the old man.
The old man.
The old man. The grumpy old man. What's DS9 up to right now with Bajor?
So we start on the runabout with Dax and... Yes, we do.
No. You missed the
never
whole cold opening. Why are they on that runabout, Jonathan?
So we're in ops, and they're monitoring something with the moon, one of Bajor's moons.
So they're helping Bajor with it's their first major energy transfer. So I guess there's something like inside the moon,
The core
of the moon, that they're going to tap it and take it out. And I guess it's going to be used as an energy resource to like heat homes, power things. I mean, there's a point in the episode where she mentions like this is going to help thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people on Bajor, this energy source. So it is vital for them.
Yeah, I think they're literally just extracting the heat from the core.
But
like it's literally just like geothermal power.
To do that, everybody's got to bay off.
Everybody gonna die
because it's going to poison the air.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's about 50 people in a little village on this moon. They've already told everybody to get out. So the reason why they're in that runabout is that pretty much they're just going to the moon to check on things before they start the drilling because it's happening in like days. The moon is called Gerardo?
Gerardo? Yeah, that sounds right.
And the leader of the whole project is Minister Tehran.
Yeah, Toran. I
don't know.
He's just like their POC.
Exactly. He's there, but he's like very nervous. He's like, everything's gonna go okay, right? And Kira's like, yo, calm down. We all want this to be a success. Believe me, we are on top of things, which they kind of aren't when there's 3 people that have been left behind. But anyways, we're on top of this. And you know what? We're going to do a last minute run to make sure everything is ready to go. So that is where we find Kira and Dex in the runabout to do their final checks. Whoopsie! There's some life forms on that moon. That can't be right.
Oh, before then, we get a little bit of
Oh, the Morn thing.
Yeah, we get a little glimpse into...
I can't forget about Morn.
Into future Dax.
Yes.
As she gets to develop more.
Nice.
This is like your first glimpse of like the real Dax.
A little taste.
She's talking about how Morn asked her out. Kira's like, oh, Morn. But Dax is like, you know those 7 or 8 little wiry hairs that come out of his forehead? Make him look cute. And Kira's just looking at her horrified.
She's disgusted. She's like, what? Which is kind of funny because you think future society, like, we've gone beyond this and looks. And no. They're still all about the looks. And Kira's horrified.
Which is a very interesting thing about Dax, that she's always very non-judgmental when it comes to looks.
Which makes sense for her because of the amount of lifetimes she's had in the experience.
It also shows more of a lighter, more personal side, which again, they were really trying to repress in these early seasons. So it's nice to see it squeaking through a little bit here, and we get a lot more of it later.
So because there's life forms on the moon, Kira has to beam down to check on things, and she finds pitchforks in her face as soon as she beams down. The people with the pitchforks, they have names. I can't remember, but they're just an old couple that are mute throughout the whole episode.
Yes, and they are mute because they don't want to pay them more.
That's the real reason. The in-universe reason is that the Cardassians made it so they couldn't talk, which I'm guessing they took out their tongues.
Yes.
This is, I guess, the implication.
They, what's that movie? The one that just got remade.
One just got
James
remade.
McAvoy.
Oh, Speak No Evil.
Yes, yeah, they speak no evil them.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, that isn't a spoiler because it was in the trailer.
And James McAvoy comes out in Cardassian makeup from the bushes wielding a chainsaw.
I dig it. Anyway, while this is going on, this old folksy man comes out brimming with sexist and condescending comments, saying, "Oh, don't mind them. They don't take kindly to uniforms." That sort of thing. So Kira's now trying to get to the bottom of why are you here? We evacuated this moon. You can't live here or you die. But this is their home and they don't want to leave it. So they're going to stand up for their right to party.
Yeah, basically at first she's very much, oh, well, you must have been missed, and is kind of slow to catch up on the fact that they don't want to leave. And they know perfectly well, but they don't want to leave.
Yeah, it's so funny. She just assumes, oh, you guys just mustn't gotten the memo that you were supposed to be out by now. And I'm like, no, Kira, if they have pitchforks in their hand, I think they're ready for a fight.
They're at least a little more going on here. But she does a pretty good job of not coming on too strong. Like she works within, plays along a bit to try and get him to go.
And oh man, it's just delaying. He's like, dinner's gonna take 3 hours. And at that point, Kira talks to Dax and says, just go. I'm gonna be here for a while. Which, how'd you get back to DS9?
Must have come and picked her up.
Guess so. Okay.
She said, I'll have one of the thermologists bring me back.
Oh, you're right. That was mentioned. So our old man, his name is Mulabak? Bach. Okay.
Mulabak.
And of course, he just keeps on with the sexist things, condescension. And at one point, Kira's had enough of it. She turns around and then she realizes he's doing it on purpose. Because, he's just trying to get under her skin.
For some reason.
Because she has a uniform. She's the enemy. She's trying to get him off the rock and away from their home. Now, as much as I'm not a huge fan of Mobox, I think the story is really good from Kira's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing a good thing, but the things she needs to do to accomplish this task do look aggressive. And every time the old man brings up what she's doing, paralleling it to what the Cardassians did, you could tell how deeply that hurts her. Because she wants to be nothing like that.
Right.
And so even though I'm not a huge fan of the old man, I do think it's an important discussion. Just because we're helping thousands of people, is it right that you kick me out of my home? Which he talks a little bit later when they're having the dinner about how he escaped from Bajor from one of the camps, I think 40 years ago. And he tamed this land
with
now.
His own bare hands, yeah.
Now, some of it definitely sounds like exaggeration, but he did escape. He did come to this planet and he built this village. And it looks lovely. And he's an old man. The idea of him starting over.
Right. That's why it says, if I leave here, I'll die.
And I think
effectively,
yes.
I'll be dead. So I don't have enough energy to start over again.
Yes. And she keeps going, no, you won't. I'll make sure. Yeah. So he's age-wise, he's old, but also emotionally. I could see how this would, in essence, kill him.
Right.
Because just not only that he doesn't have the energy to restart, he's just not going to have the will. I think he'll just go and waste away and he'll literally die. The stakes are high here because are these 3 people worth giving energy to the hundreds of thousands of people? And it's the whole the majority for the majority, and the ends justify the means, kind of like
the greater good, yeah.
Greater good, which I understand. It's hard to say it's right. Like, even though I'm like, yes, they should be relocated. But also at the same time, it feels icky. That's it. It feels icky. And I think that's what, because at one point he asked Kira, like, why are you so mad? And she's like, I don't know. And it's because she feels icky. So Kira's, trying to tell him about the project. And pretty much Smallbox is like, fuck Bajor, fuck them kids. I want to stay at home. And you mentioned, he says, I'm going to die here. Which, is it right then to force him to leave? Should she have just left him?
Right, is it?
Like, that's the, like, because
is leaving him there and killing him the right move, or he's taken away when he said he doesn't want to leave the right move?
Which is an aggressor move, taking someone from their home. That definitely feels Cardassian, and either way feels awful. She says it later on, this is awful, and she's right. Either option is bad on this personal level. Like, what it'll do for the greater good isn't awful, but for this one man, it is. This destroys his life.
And now Kira's in the unique position that she's never been in before of having to be on the other side.
Yes, which Sisko talks about later. Pretty much we get a sense from her conversation over dinner after he tells the story of how he tamed the moon. She talks about fighting the Cardassians. And the old man's like, oh, well, I'm sorry I missed the fun. And Kira's pissed off by this statement. She's like, fun? We shouldn't have won. We barely defeated him. And he's like, well, how did you? There's no way you could have won. And she's like, by holding on like fanatics. And then he does like, oh, and that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
But the thing is, he's equating his situation with what the Cardassians did. And I can see from his mind how there's parallels. Because he's like, oh, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to fight. I'm going to delay this. But it's not a one-to-one. And I think that's what he's missing. He sees it as like, you held on, you fought, and you defeated the Cardassians. And guess what? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm that tough too, which, he is pretty tough. But it's not the same thing. And he can't separate these things from his mind. Which, we go back then to the episode with Kira and the Kai. We talked about she never left completely the war. We see with this man, he never left. And I think we're starting to see it's not just Kira. There's a lot of people in Bajor who are still fighting this fight, but they won. But he's still fighting. And to him, it just looks like another extension of this war, them coming and taking his home. So I think also from that perspective, it's interesting because it's another step for Kira in healing from her past, because now she's on the other side, and also seeing other Bajorans and how the war has affected them and how it is not ended for them either. It's interesting. She had this discussion with Kai, and now she is kind of like faced with her first battle. Is she going to move on or not? I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting, even though the old guy like drove me crazy sometimes.
Right.
I thought watching her perspective and like watching her go through this made it very interesting. And I thought it was a great next step in her progression as a character.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of those in this season. So sure, they're back in Ops now.
Before we go back to Ops, just want to say they introduce the pizza oven here, the kiln.
Oh yes, yeah. They look at
because he goes outside and he starts making this pizza oven.
Making his pizza oven.
And this is where Kara says, "Oh, the air won't be breathable if they mine it." And Molbox, you think I want to give up just because the air is gonna be poisoned? You think he could bring me down? And there you go. She goes back to Ops.
I think there's also a good point to be made here is that you're right, that he's trying to equate his fight with theirs. But the fundamental difference is he is only fighting for himself.
Yes.
He has already said, I don't care about Bajor. I'm just in this for me.
Literally, he said, fuck them kids.
And so even though he has identified certain parallels with their behavior in the Cardassian and his behavior in the Resistance, he's missing the fact that all those people in the Resistance weren't just fighting for them personally to stay alive. They were fighting for the greater good.
For Bajor.
And
for
they did
its
not.
Future.
Yeah.
And this core step, which I understand why he's upset, why he's mad, but the step is for Bajor. It's not to make them more wealthy. It's not a status in the quadrant. It's to heat homes, which is the future of Bajor, because children then have more access to energy, have a better future.
And ultimately, he can't
see that.
Yeah.
Because when he left the camp, it seems like he also kind of pieced out to Bajor. Like he also gave up on his people as well.
Yep. Yeah, Sword Ops, and now Kira's talking to Sisko and Mr. Turan, and basically he's all confused about...
I thought you said everything was going to go smooth!
Yeah, about why this is a problem. Just bulldoze him over. But you see Kira's currently right now, her resistance mode is activated.
Yes.
She's getting pulled back into the resistance mindset.
Fight for the underdog. That's her mindset. And she kind of does a low blow to Rand when she goes, he says, why can't we just beam them off? What's the problem? And she's like, that sounds like tactics that Cardassians would use. Sisko's like, whoa, now, Kira.
Use the C word.
Yeah, exactly. Whoa, Kira. Settle down. And Minister's not happy about that comment. I think you have developed a feeling for this old man. Can you do your job? She's like, yes. Her and two of the guards, Odo's men, beam down to the moon. She sends the guards to get the mute couple while she tries to convince the old man to go. And pretty much things just get really heated because one of the couple, stabs a guard in the side. And he has the wife in his hands. And Mullowbox freaks out. He's like, don't you put your hands on her. And he lunges for the guard, and the guard shoots him with the phaser, and he's down. And she's like, I said gentle. This is supposed to be a gentle extraction. Like, get the doctor. Go to commercial break, come back. Bashir's here for his cameo. He does his best to tend to Mullowbox. He wakes up to find out that the couple have been relocated. And he looks confused. He's like, well, Kira, why didn't you take me? Why didn't you beam me out while I was unconscious? Which...
Yeah, like, you took them. Why take me?
So you could tell she's still like this inner conflict where she wants him to say, yes, I'm going to go. There's something about she cannot at this moment forcibly extract him. She wants him in some sense to okay it.
She's not yet ready to take him by force.
She pretty much shoos Bashir away. Like, I'll take him. And Bashir's like, he needs a doctor. He needs to go to, sick bay with me. She's like, nah, just give me the meds. I'll take care of him. You go. Bashir's like, okay, I guess so. Thanks for wasting my time. Bye. And then Kira stays to care for him. She takes part of her uniform off. We get her fancy tank top underneath.
Very fancy.
She starts building the pizza oven.
Starts building that pizza oven. She wants some pizza. She saw that and went, I got plans for this.
I mean, we don't want it to go waste now. Bashir goes back to DS9 and talks to Sisko. He updates him on the goings on. Sisko does not look pleased. she's putting her career on the line by not just, bringing this guy home. And that she can get in trouble, we need to give her a day or two. And Bashir's like, well, how are we going to do that? She doesn't need to be there. And Cisco's like, make it true. And Bashir's like, it isn't my position as a doctor that she should say for humanitarian reasons for how long do you think? Cisco, a day or two. For a day or two for humanitarian reasons. Which I thought was a cute moment for Cisco and Bashir, where Bashir's like, at first he's like, oh, but that would be lying. And Cisco's, oh, then make it true.
A little glimpse of Cisco's future here.
Yeah. So we go to the moon, and this is where we get Kira is just angry. And Mulbox is like, why are you so angry? And she tells the story about this old tree outside of her house growing up that was just a nasty tree. Its roots were embedded, nothing
Dug
could
in,
grow.
couldn't take it out. It ruined everything around it.
He's like, well, what did you do with the tree? Did you cut it down? And she's like, I still haven't decided. She doesn't know what she's going to do with this old man. And this is when Cisco beams in. And Mulbox is like, another uniform, and like kind of pissy at him. Oh, she doesn't want to talk to you. And almost
he's trying to drive a little wedge there.
I know. And Kira's like, don't speak for me, mister. And Cisco's like, can I talk to you outside? We don't have to have this old man here around. And this is when Cisco kind of breaks it down for her and says, you are on the other side now. And that's why she's having such a hard time. And she goes, it's awful. It's awful. And Cisco says, Bajor needs you. Mulbox's fate is decided, but yours isn't. And he's right. No matter what happens, they're going to do this to the moon. She can go down with them. She can do her job. Everything sucks.
Yep. And ultimately, it's like that what you were fighting for all those time in the Resistance was to do this. Yeah. Like, the future you fought for your people is now being blocked by this guy.
Yeah.
And he's a Bajoran, but he's now hindering the future of your people just as much as the Cardassians were.
And I think then it is a interesting precursor to our next Kai, that not all Bajorans are going to do what's best for Bajor.
Interestingly, there's a Kai-centered episode in season 3, I think, that deals with almost this exact same plot.
Oh, really?
Of like the greater good versus the...
Okay.
But it's flipped a little bit.
Interesting.
We'll have to see if that one ends up being as successful in conveying the message.
Okay.
When we get to it next year or whenever.
Yeah. I think this is a good lesson for Kira. It's a hard one, though. And I feel for her because you could just see the pain on her face when she has to take aggressive action against her people. And Mulbox keeps going, why are you doing this? You don't want to do this. You're just one of them. You're one of the uniforms now. Which is interesting because I feel like that is similar to what the other dude said in like the second episode, the terrorist, where he was like, oh, you're just a politician now. Yeah. Interesting how, I wonder if this will continue, where Bajor men keep telling Kira you're just this now.
Man, between that episode, the battle lines, and this one, Kira's getting like a fast track of character development throughout the season. She really gets, I think, some of the most attention of anyone.
I think this is really Kira's season, especially with our 2 ending episodes of the season, Duet and I can't remember.
Oh yeah, and Duet's coming up. Jesus.
Yeah, this is
her. That really is her season.
We get a lot of good stuff with our other characters, especially Cisco.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job balancing it around.
But you would think with the first season, it would be more like Cisco getting the major character development, especially with the first episode. But yes. I feel like
it was very front-loaded.
A little back burner
Mm-hmm.
for a couple seasons. I feel like it's probably like maybe season 4, like he really gets a lot of development.
And what's interesting is now that I think about this with Kira and all the arcs she's having later on in season 4 or 5, when the station changes hands, those are some of the best episodes in the whole show. And Kira's arc is at the center of a lot of those too.
Okay.
It's interesting to see Kira being at the center of these like really good arcs.
Yes. It also makes sense why she would be the focus, because we're also learning about our 2 main species. They're the focus.
Yeah.
And right now we're definitely getting more Bajor. I feel like in the later seasons we get more Cardassian.
Yes.
But this season is really about Bajor.
Which makes sense.
What they went through, what they're going through right now.
And so as your resident Bajoran, Kira's obviously going to be the focal point.
She's the liaison. She's caught between 2 worlds. She is also getting over being in the Resistance and being in war since she was a child. This is her whole life. I think it was very smart of them to put her character in the forefront and have a lot of development in this season for her. We had some flops this season.
Yes.
But I think that is a win for this season.
Yeah, I think all the Kira arcs have been good.
Yes.
Remember.
When they dig deep.
Yeah, when they dig deep.
On Kira, the Bajorans, what they've been through, really develop this world.
When she's on the sidelines, they just have her yell a lot.
Yes. It's so funny when in this conversation that she has with Cisco, he's like, "When I first met you, I thought you were hot-headed."
Because they just told me to yell, kept telling me to yell more.
Like, I was just written that way. I'm glad she's not just hot-headed Bajoran woman.
Yes.
Cisco pieces out. Good luck deciding. Kara watches over Malbox through the night. Neither of them can sleep well. He's having nightmares. It's just a lot of banter back and forth. He's like trying to still get under her skin. Kira wakes up to Malbox looking better, and he's completing that pizza oven. It's been the last bricks on. And she has her uniform back on.
She seems much more at peace already.
Yes. And she helps him complete it. They put the last piece on, and she goes, "It's finished. We need to go." And this is where Malbox, "But you don't want to do this. And as long as that cottage stands, I ain't going nowhere." And Kira blasts that pizza oven sky high, takes some fire from it, and lights the cottage on fire. And she goes, "I'm saving you." And he goes, "You're choosing your uniform. You're not saving me." He's like, "And if you were really my friend, prove it. Take your weapon, use it on me." Because he wants to die, other than being moved. And she's like, "I can't do that. I'm not going to murder you." And he says again, "If I leave here, I'll die." And then it's 2 to beam up.
And she says, "No, you won't. I won't let you."
But is that really in her control?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of up to him.
Yeah.
I thought they had said some in this episode, but I don't remember seeing it when we watched it. But I thought someone had made the point of like, this guy, he makes all this bluster about, I'm going to stay, I'm going to fight. But when it comes to making a life on Bajor, he's just going to give up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Call him out. I think they would have been nice if they maybe called him out on that hypocrisy a little bit and been like, at least in some lines somewhere, like,
yes.
Why not put this tenacity into forging that life on Bajor? And then I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, we need people to help build Bajor. Why aren't you putting that energy towards that instead of your pizza oven?
It's not like it makes any of these decisions easier. It doesn't make the moral question goes away. But for you, just for your own sake, put this energy into building a new life, because you don't have a choice either.
Yeah. The whole end is just really sad. Watching Kira, especially lighting the cottage on fire and blowing up the pizza oven. Like, it was really heartbreaking.
A lot of pyrotechnics in this episode. A lot of pyrotechnics in this episode.
Yeah.
And I think she saved him from a death trap because that cottage went up way too quickly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would defuse that pizza oven and explode it.
I think he built it with gasoline.
Like,
well,
Jesus.
This is a fire hazard. Good thing I was here.
Like, come to DS9. We have replicators. I can get you pizza.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. You don't understand.
I just wanted my moon pizza.
Okay. How are we feeling about this episode?
I think it's all right. The B story's harmless. It helps that it's Nog and Jake, so they're just fun to watch, so it doesn't bother me too much that I think they missed the mark on it a little bit. I think it could have been better, and it ended sort of very, like, weirdly and all of a sudden. But, yeah, Mollabok was annoying. But yeah, as long as you focus on the Kira side of it, I think it's actually pretty good. I see where they were going with Mollabok, but just didn't quite hit. But I guess he does fit the description of an ugly, gnarly, stubborn tree.
And also, just because he's annoying, that doesn't mean what he's going through and the point he's making is wrong or right. Him as a person shouldn't weigh in. Because I feel like some people would probably seem like, oh, kick this man off the moon. The point he's making should not rely on his personality. The moral implications of what is happening. He's in the wrong, but it's not because he's a folksy asshole.
Apparently he was supposed to be much more of a villain, much more manipulative and like abusive and like a definitive like.
I'm glad they didn't do that. Because then would have made it a little too easy.
Exactly. And in fact, the episode coming up that referenced in season 3, I think, with the Kai, with this similar story, a problem with that one is also that it's a bit easy because the Kai is involved, which automatically makes one side right.
It's really hard.
Yeah, which is tough to balance.
Yeah, the Kai makes it very hard. Even if she is right, she's like, oh, but do I want to be on the side of the Kai? Ew. Yeah, I like this episode. Not great, but not bad. It wasn't like some of our flops we've had.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which.
Oh, is that the next one? Is that a flop?
Wishes were horses.
Is that a flop? Oh, no.
You ready to watch Rumpelstiltskin?
What?
Oh, yes.
Why don't I remember this?
Oh, yes. That Move Along Home was bad. Just you wait.
No. Just think of Duet. Duet. We're so close. So close.
3 more episodes and then Duet.
And then I'm hoping at least 17 or 18's good.
They have their moments.
Okay. So next one's a ratted one. And 17 and 18 are probably like, okay.
We'll see. We'll see, won't we?
All right. That's it, folks. We got
see
through
you next week, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We've been on a sort of a wishy-washy release schedule.
It's summer.
Yeah.
It's summer.
Shit happens.
Yep.
All right.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.